Hello everyone and welcome to Be Better Gamer Wrestling. I am Be Better Gamer and this is your place for Let's Plays of WWF No Mercy, WCW NW Revenge, Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, and WWE 2K16. Today I am doing another Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 Let's Play, and this is it. I am finally at the end of Royal Road Secession Mode with Masahiro Chono. When I first started my Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 Let's Play series, I started with Masahiro Chono doing the Royal Road Secession Mode, playing the game pretty much like I bought it for the first time. You know, I erased all the information, started from scratch, edited all the wrestlers, and then jumped into Royal Road Secession, and I'm finally here. I started doing this way back towards like the beginning, or at least the spring of 2015. Got sidetracked. Some episodes I uploaded weren't entirely about Royal Road Secession Mode because I wanted to do some G1 Climax videos, and I was like, I'll do some G1 Climax episodes and then I'll get back to Royal Road Secession. Then I stopped working on my channel, so it's been a long time coming. I'm very excited to be back on the path, or at the end of the path I should say, of Royal Road Secession. This is a big accomplishment for me in that sense, the fact that I've worked hard to get back not only on schedule with my channel and all my other Let's Play videos, but also Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, my favorite wrestling game, part of the AKI developed series of wrestling games. I have to admit it, you know, it used to be every day, you know, it would change. It's either WWF No Mercy or Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. WWF No Mercy, Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. Any given day it would change, and obviously in a close second was WCW NW Revenge. But I have to say, Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 still holds a very special place in my heart, and I just like playing it more than I like playing WWF No Mercy. But that's like saying I like having $1,001,000 as opposed to having $1 million. Like, it's the same thing. Like, they're both amazing, great games. I just, you know, I love Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. It's definitely my favorite. If I had to choose which you know, which kind of chocolate I liked, you know, the dark chocolate or the regular chocolate, you know, I'm gonna go with dark chocolate. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't compare these games really. At the end of the day, they're both fantastic games. But Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, and then part of it, you know, when I'm doing these Let's Plays now, I've been getting back into watching wrestling a lot like how I used to watch wrestling. And when I used to watch wrestling, you know, I started out, obviously I was a kid who watched WWF, you know, and then I started watching a little bit of WCW, and then as I got older, I started branching out, started watching some ECW, but then I started getting exposed to Japanese wrestling, partly because of a lot of the wrestlers that would show up in WCW. You know, who are these guys? Who is the Great Muta? Who is Chono? Who is Jushin Thunder Liger? Who is Ultimo Dragon? You know, and when I started getting exposed to Japanese wrestling through American wrestling and venturing out and discovering tapes of compilations of wrestlers, I quickly fell in love with the Japanese style of wrestling, and it's still again, it holds a very special place in my heart. You know, the world of wrestling is dominated by WWE. That's the end game. Everyone talks about it. Everyone talks about getting to WrestleMania, you know, this and that. But I love me some Japanese wrestling. I love me some New Japan, watching some old All Japan stuff, because All Japan Pro Wrestling isn't as great as it used to be right now. But, you know, so yeah, that's another reason why it's my favorite. Anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about that. I guess I should be talking about that we're finally at the end of Royal Road Secession Mode. And if you're joining me for the first time, you know, usually I do these Let's Plays. I like to talk about the historical context of what was going on around the time these games were being developed. And with Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, it's kind of a tricky little situation because there's so many wrestlers in this game, and they expand so many different promotions and so many different decades, if you will, of Japanese wrestling. I really feel like this is like a greatest hits collection of wrestling, because not only did it have so many top stars within the All Japan Pro Wrestling promotion at the time, but they definitely pulled all the top stars from a lot of the other current big name promotions at the time. And also they included a lot of legends in this game, a lot of very famous wrestlers, not only in the Japanese world of wrestling, but also some, you know, foreign wrestlers too, some gaijins, if you will, as the Japanese people like to call them. And this is it. This is the end of Royal Road Secession Mode. This is like the road to WrestleMania. And you know, pretty much in the last episode, it started out in the month of February, but it was one of those weird paths that was broken up. So I didn't really mention this in the last video. I should have. But you basically do like a couple of matches in February, and then you do really quickly. You do like one match in March, one match in April, and then you win the Triple Crown in May, the beginning of May. So this is continuing May. I'm still in May, and now this is pretty much my defense, my title defense. I'm facing Jun Izumida, which is a very interesting choice. I don't remember if I faced him pretty much in the entire in the entire Royal Road Secession mode. I might have faced him once in a tag team, because in Royal Road Secession he does team with Kamala. But I just think it's so weird. You know, I beat Akira Tau for the Triple Crown Championship, and now I'm facing Jun Izumida. He never held the Triple Crown Championship. I don't even think he ever came close to holding the Triple Crown Championship. He's kind of like a mid-carder, you know, of All Japan Pro Wrestling at the time. He had some success with Tam and Honda. They captured the All Asia Tag Team title once. He did win the Korakuen Heavyweight Battle Royal one year. He won it in 1998. But that's about it. You know, Jun Izumida, he didn't really do too much to affect the landscape of All Japan Pro Wrestling, if you will. So, very interesting choice. But as you're going to see, once I beat Jun Izumida, because I will, spoiler alert, I'm going to be unlocking two brand new characters, two special characters. And, you know, I played the long game with this. You know, I specifically chose Masahiro Chono, not because I wanted to. Like, realistically, like, I mean, I love Masahiro Chono. He's great, but in terms of playing in this game as Masahiro Chono, like, both his finishers are submission holds, and you do a lot of tag team matches in Royal Road Secession mode. Very reflective of how a lot of Japanese tours are done. There's a lot of tag teams that lead up into like a big event where you get all those big major singles matches, but they love their tag teams over there in Japan. Excuse me. But the reason why I went with Masahiro Chono is because if you get through Royal Road Secession mode, you automatically unlock a Jumbo Tsuruta. That's the number one person you unlock. You know, once you win the Triple Crown title, and then you get to the end of Royal Road Secession mode, you face the Jumbo Tsuruta, and you unlock him. So it's a guarantee. No matter who you play as, you unlock Jumbo Tsuruta, and I'll talk about Jumbo Tsuruta in a big All Japan star. But if you played as anyone from New Japan Pro Wrestling and you beat the entire Royal Road Secession mode, you unlock Antonio Inoki. So that's really why I did it. And also playing as Masahiro Chono, you also unlock Atsushi Onita in Royal Road Secession mode, and you unlock a few other things. You unlock a few other outfits and stuff like that playing as Chono. So that's why I played as Chono. So it's great that I'm finally at the end, and I'm gonna see, you know, the fruits of my labor, if you will. I'm gonna finally see the reward. Here we go. Here's a big announcement, big statement. They're throwing me in to a special challenge match, and this is where I will be facing Jumbo Tsuruta. Now, Jumbo Tsuruta is... oh man, do you want to compare him to the Hogan of All Japan? Not really, because All Japan had a lot of great stars. But if you're going to talk about one of the biggest stars in All Japan Pro Wrestling in the 80s, you got to look at Jumbo Tsuruta. Now, obviously, you know, Shohei Baba, that was his company, this and that. But his ace, his top guy in the 80s, his top, I should say, Japanese guy, because All Japan Pro Wrestling... unlike New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling had a lot of, you know, gaijins, and they mostly played heel, but they were also very popular. You had your Stan Hansens, the Funks, Terry Gordy, Steve Williams, Bruiser Brody. Like, all those guys were huge attractions in All Japan Pro Wrestling. But the one constant, the one big babyface for All Japan Pro Wrestling for most of the 80s was Jumbo Tsuruta. He's a big deal. How much of a big deal he is? Well, he was the first Triple Crown champion. You know, I just won the Triple Crown Championship with Masahiro Chono in the last episode. I just did the title defense against Jun Izumida, and here I am now. I'm facing the very first Triple Crown champion ever from All Japan Pro Wrestling. So it was a unification. It's the 3 belts that you see. That's the Triple Crown Championship. It's not 3 belts anymore. They finally gave the belts back to the widow of Giant Baba, and they've made one single belt, but they still call it the Triple Crown Championship. They did this recently. It was a unification of the... I'll tell you right now. It was a unification of the PWF Heavyweight, the NWA United National Championship belts. So those 2 belts were held by Stan Hansen in the unification match. And the NWA International Heavyweight Champion. That was originally the main belt that was defended in All Japan Pro Wrestling. Was the NWA International Heavyweight Champion and the PWF Heavyweight Championship. Those were kind of the 2 main belts. But all 3 of those belts were united. And that became the Triple Crown Championship, and it was Jumbo Tsuruta against Stan Hansen. Jumbo Tsuruta was the NWA International Champion. Stan Hansen, the PWF Heavyweight and NWA United National Champion. And the match took place on April 18th, 1989. Now, Jumbo Tsuruta would only hold it for 48 days in that first reign, and he would lose it to Genichiro Tenryu. He would lose it on June 5th, 1989. But he would get it back from him. He would get it back from him in October of that year. And then he would hold it for 237 days. Losing the title to Terry Gordy, that I mentioned in my Terry Gordy and Steve Williams video when I did the Royal Road Secession. I unlocked them. But that wouldn't last long. Again, he would regain the title from Stan Hansen, who by this time had gotten the title again, on January 19th, 1991, and he would hold it for 374 days. So his third reign was his longest reign, but still, those are 2 very long reigns to follow up with each other. And he would lose it back to Stan Hansen on January 28th, 1992. So needless to say, he had a big feud with Stan Hansen. I mean, they also feud a lot with tag teams and things like that. I mean, Jumbo Tsuruta won the All Japan Pro Wrestling, World's Strongest Tag Determination League, the Real World Tag League. I did a whole video about that when I was playing one of my Royal Road Secession videos. I did the World's Strongest Tag Determination League. That's one of my Let's Plays. You can go back and check. And that's the only match I lost. The only match I lost in my whole Royal Road Secession mode as Masahiro Chono and Hiroshi Tenzan was against Stan Hansen and Vader in the very first match for the World's Strongest Tag League in this game. So I'm still kind of bummed out about that. Didn't get a perfect record. Hopefully I'll get a perfect record now. I'm playing right now a little, behind the scenes preview. I'm playing as Jinsei Shinzaki in Royal Road Secession mode because I have to unlock the original Tiger Mask. So I'm trying to get through that really quick so I can unlock Tiger Mask and put that video up one day eventually. And I hope I go undefeated in that. So that'd be great if I go undefeated in that. I've done it before. It's not unheard of. I've done it before, but it just sucks that in my very first Royal Road Secession video, I wanted to go undefeated the whole way through all the Let's Plays, and I lost against Stan Hansen and Vader. But you know what? That made a compelling storyline. That made a very compelling storyline for that World's Strongest Tag Determination League. But Jumbo Tsuruta, no stranger to that championship. That tournament. He won it in 1978 and 1980 with Giant Baba. He won it in 1984 and 1986 with Genichiro Tenryu. He won it in 1987 with Yoshiaki Yatsu. So he's won it 5 times. He's won the Triple Crown Championship 3 times. He also was the first, or part of the first tag team that ever held the All Japan Pro Wrestling World Tag Team Championship. Okay, so him and Yoshiaki Yatsu, they were the first ever All Japan World Tag Team Champions. And again, that was the unified PWF World Tag Team Championship along with the NWA International Tag Team Championship. And those championship belts, especially the NWA International Tag Team Championship, he held that individually himself 9 times. 6 times with Baba, 2 times with Tenryu, and then the last time with Yatsu before they unified it. And then the PWF tag team title, he held it twice, once with the second Tiger Mask and Yoshiaki Yatsu when he unified it. So Jumbo Tsuruta, he was the And he also won the Kurikan Battle Royal in 1984. I mean, he's done it all. He's done it all. He did everything you could accomplish in All Japan Pro Wrestling. A bona fide legend. I mean, even his ranking as Triple Crown champion is still up. Here he is hitting me with a devastating powerbomb outside onto the concrete, or at least the non-matted area. I like to call that area the concrete. Why would they only put mats just on those sides of the ring? Maybe so it just doesn't look like a big blue like river, you know, on the floor. Maybe it's to distinguish the mats. But so I always like to say that's the concrete in the game. Here's Tsuruta getting so excited he can't get out of the ring. I'm giving him the STF. Gotta make sure he's kicking my butt in this match. I'm not gonna lie, this is not an easy. And if I've never lost against a hidden character as far as I can remember, so I don't know what would happen if you lost against a hidden character, if you have to like go through all of Royal Road Secession again if you accidentally save it. Well, I think it does autosave, right? Oh man, I don't even remember. But so I really don't want to lose against Jumbo Tsuruta here. That would be something. 16 years later, here I am finally losing to a hidden character while I'm doing my Let's Plays. That'd be terrible. But he's definitely giving me a run for my money. So I'm kind of protecting myself here by keep doing submission holds to the outside because he can't get a rope break. And there you go. See my specials climbing while I'm doing the STF. So that's how you know I got the comeback special going. Well, little tricks to preserve myself to make sure I win this match, because I don't want to come all this way and then lose, the two big important matches that I'm supposed to win. Look at that special, just all the way there. I'm ready for it. And usually here when you have a special like that, you want to just go for a weak grab, but I don't know, I'm just baiting the counters, I guess. I don't know why I'm doing that. That's a little too risky. And slap away, give him the big stretch right into the ropes. I should have moved back. I don't know what I'm thinking. I was getting nervous. I was probably getting nervous playing against Jumbo Tsuruta. This is a big moment. I finally got here. I finally got to this, and he's kicking my butt. He's throwing me off. It's like, this shouldn't be happening. It should be a cakewalk. After all the people I've beaten in Royal Road Secession mode, I should, be ending these matches so quickly, yet I'm still getting challenged by the computer, and I'm not too happy about it because I don't want to be embarrassed in front of everyone on YouTube. So going back to his tag team, he won that championship, that tag team championship, with the second Tiger Mask. And the second Tiger Mask, as we all know, and if you don't know, it was Mitsuhiro Misawa. So Mitsuhiro Misawa would be the next top ace after Jumbo Tsuruta. And it was a big deal when Mitsuhiro Misawa took off his mask. He took it off in a tag team match, and very quickly, I mean, he was gaining a lot of popularity already. The second Tiger Mask, because he started out as a light heavyweight, but he quickly moved up to the heavyweight ranks, and people were getting behind him. The original Tiger Mask was very popular, so people started to really enjoy the second Tiger Mask. But when Misawa took off the mask, it was like almost instantly he became this huge fan favorite. And so Genichiro Tenryu, on June 5th 1989, he defeated Stan Hansen, and that was like one of like the most, he lost to Stan Hansen, I should say, and that was like one of the most epic. I'm sorry, Genichiro Tenryu, he lost to Tenryu for the Triple Crown Championship, and that was one of the most epic, Triple Crown Championship matches at that time, or at least one of the top ones. Tsuruta had a lot of great matches before that, but the Tenryu and Tsuruta match really stood out. People really loved it. Flash forward a year later, when Tsuruta, I'm getting all my wrestlers mixed up, when Tsuruta would get the championship back, here we go, Misawa unmasks. A few days later, he challenges Tsuruta for the Triple Crown Championship, and it's one of the most memorable matches in All Japan Pro Wrestling history. Misawa very quickly challenging for the championship, and it instantly made Misawa a star, and he would become the next big ace for All Japan Pro Wrestling. And actually, in May of 2000, Jumbo Tsuruta would pass away. He would die due to complications from a kidney transplant, because he was trying to overcome kidney cancer. And in that same month of that year is when Mitsuhiro Misawa and the rest of All Japan roster pretty much they left. It was a mass exodus, and they left All Japan Pro Wrestling to establish, Misawa went to establish Pro Wrestling Noah. So there was a lot more his backstory there between that and why he left. A lot of it had to do with him feeling he couldn't run the company the way he wanted because they had just given him the company. But you gotta believe that maybe also the sudden impact of losing Jumbo Tsuruta, maybe he felt like he didn't have any more allegiance there anymore. Here I am, I'm unlocking the Tokyo Dome arena with the ramp, one of the coolest unlockables in this game. So you have to basically get through the end of Royal Road Secession mode, and then you unlock this. This is one of the coolest things. You've already seen it in my G1 Climax videos. But there you go, that's the end. There's no more matches coming up, as you can see in the upper right. There's no more months. This is it. That's my record. Oh wait, I lost twice? When did I lose the second match? I don't remember. That's 57-2. Uh-oh. I don't remember when I lost my second match. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the tape. Can you remind me when I lost the second match? I don't remember losing 2 matches. I only remember losing 1. But here you go. And this is where we're gonna get to Antonio Inoki, and you're gonna face him at the newly unlocked Tokyo Dome ramp. So if you're wondering why I was able to put up G1 Climax episodes with the unlocked Tokyo Dome ramp way before I got to recording, putting up this Let's Play episode where I'm actually finishing Royal Road Secession, it's because I had this gameplay recorded way before I even did the G1 Climax. I recorded myself going through the entire Royal Road Secession, and then again I took a little break from doing Let's Plays because I wanted to do G1 Climax themed episodes right around the time of the G1 Climax. So I kind of rushed to get through Royal Road Secession so that I can have the unlocked Tokyo Dome arena for that G1 Climax series. And then, in the summertime is when I fell off from doing my YouTube channels. So I've been sitting on this footage for months, which is why I guess in the beginning I was talking about why it's so important that we finally got to the end, not just because we're at the end of Royal Road Secession mode and I can start doing Let's Plays about other aspects of this amazing game, but also just how it's just a big accomplishment that I'm finally getting to do Let's Plays of video footage I recorded months ago. But there's Antonio Inoki. Obviously doesn't look anything like Antonio Inoki, just like how the Jumbo Tsuruta model didn't really look too much like a Jumbo Tsuruta. You have to go in and edit them because, like I've explained in my other videos, Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, they didn't have a license for, a lot of these characters in the game. They only had a license for the All Japan Pro Wrestling characters. But Antonio Inoki, obviously the founder of New Japan Pro Wrestling, so he's kind of a big deal. If you're not familiar with him, he was recently inducted into the Hall of Fame class, the WWE Hall of Fame class in 2010. He's unofficially been a WWF Heavyweight Champion, beating Bob Backlund, but there was a lot of controversy surrounding that. He beat Bob Backlund, and then in the rematch, Tiger Jet Singh showed up, so that caused the match to end in a no contest. So then Inoki decided to refuse the title, and the title was vacated but given back to Bob Backlund. So the WWE actually doesn't acknowledge that title reign, but it did happen. For whatever reason, they won't acknowledge it. But Antonio Inoki, he was trained by the legendary Ricky Dozan and Karl Gotch. So if you want to talk about old school, a lot of people, when they mention guys like Undertaker or Shawn Michaels, like, yeah, I used to watch old school wrestling. No, that's not old school wrestling. Old school wrestling, you're talking about Ricky Dozan and Karl Gotch, the literal fathers of Japanese wrestling. Both of them were pretty much laid the groundwork for what we know as modern Japanese wrestling. And Antonio Inoki trained under Ricky Dozan, and Ricky Dozan was the founder, if you will, of the strong style wrestling that we all know and love today from Japanese wrestling, because he learned the shoot style from Karl Gotch, he learned the catch style of wrestling from Ricky Dozan, and he combined that together to make this sort of hybrid of shoot wrestling with catch wrestling. and it was very stiff, very hard hitting, surrounded by a lot of submission grapples and strikes, and he called it strong style. And of course it would evolve over time and become a little bit more wrestling based, but we still to this day call the style of wrestling that New Japan Pro Wrestling follows, we call that the strong style of wrestling, because that was the style of wrestling that Antonio Inoki helped found in the world of Japanese wrestling. And a lot of people also considered him to be one of the founders of what we know today as MMA, because again, he was mixing his own style of martial arts that he knew from his training, his background, along with submissions and grappling wrestling, catch wrestling, and then also with shoot wrestling, which was another again, heavy grapples and submission style wrestling. So he's the founder of a lot of things. And he actually trained under Ricky Dozan. He trained alongside Giant Baba, Shohei Baba, who's on the cover of the Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 box, and they trained together, and and they were actually both tag team partners, and they held the tag team titles in the JWA, which was the Japanese Wrestling Association, which was the promotion that Ricky Dozan founded, and that was the first Japanese based wrestling promotion, and he founded it so that it could represent Japan as a territory under the NWA. So there's a lot of history there with Antonio Inoki, and Ricky Dozan is not in the game, but I think I could make him because I think his face might be in the game. I'm not too sure. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the faces, but he might be in the game. The Fire Pro Wrestling games always had Ricky Dozan, which was kind of cool, but he's not in this game. Neither is Carl Gotch, but maybe there'll be some cool calls I can make. After this Royal Road Secession, I have to diversify my Let's Plays and decide on what direction I want to take this, and I'll talk a little bit more about that soon. But Antonio Inoki, he was also, you might know of his legendary battle with Ric Flair. Only happened once, and they fought at the Mayday Stadium in Pyongyang, North Korea, on April 29th, 1995. It's the largest wrestling event audience of all time. The Mayday Stadium seating well over like 160,000 people. No other WWE event has even come close. They're making such a big deal about WrestleMania 32 trying to fill up Cowboy Stadium, and here we are in 1995, and New Japan Pro Wrestling and WCW co-promoted an event that has eclipsed that audience already. And Antonio Inoki and Ric Flair were the headline. Antonio Inoki won, of course, because no one beat Antonio Inoki. That was kind of his thing. He just didn't beat Antonio Inoki. Like he really did a very good job, if you will, of protecting himself and rarely losing a match. There was even like a whole streak, like a multi-year streak that he went where he didn't lose a match. And when they wanted to debut Vader in New Japan Pro Wrestling, he thought that it would be a great idea in order to establish Vader as this top heel for his promotion, because he felt like he needed a big top heel. He decided that Vader should beat him, and the fans nearly tore the building down when Vader, this pretty much unknown in terms of the Japanese audience at the time, he hadn't really established himself there yet, comes in and he beats Antonio Inoki in like 5-6 minutes. Just beats him, just destroys him, and the crowd went nuts. Vader talked about it. He says that the stadium, the arena that they were fighting in, they didn't really have chairs for the whole arena, so some people brought like pillows, sort of like cushions that they can sit on, and they were lighting it on fire and throwing it at him because they were so upset that he beat their god, basically. Like Antonio Inoki was like a god in Japan because he never lost. He went all over the world. He beat all the top people. He was famously knocked out by Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan actually defeated him in one of the Climax tournaments. It wasn't known as the G1 Climax. It was called the IWGP Grand Prix. But Hulk Hogan actually beat him accidentally. He legitimately, he gave him the Axe Bomber. He knocked him out, and he took the title off of him. And that was another big deal, another big controversy, that Hulk Hogan came and beat their champion. So, so many, there's so many iconic, historic things that Antonio Inoki has been a part of. And again, I really want to go and delve into a lot of the history of these characters, because a lot of these hidden characters, you can really learn a lot about the history of wrestling. And even though it happened in Japan, or if it happened in other parts of the world, it still affected wrestling as we know it today. A lot of historic matches or events or things that guys like Antonio Inoki or Jumbo Tsuruta were a part of, they definitely had a ripple effect into the larger world of wrestling. And to this day, they've left an impression on modern wrestling as we know it. And also, I should say real quick before we get to the credits of the game, and here we are, we're getting to the unlock video for Antonio Inoki. He actually helped train Masahiro Chono. So Masahiro Chono, the guy that I've been doing Royal Road Succession with all these Let's Plays episode, was trained by Antonio Inoki. So there's the character unlock, and now we're gonna go into the credits of Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. I've beaten Inoki, I've beaten Tsuruta, I've beaten Royal Road Succession Mode. I apparently lost twice. I thought I only lost once, but apparently I lost twice. I'm gonna have to go back and look to see when I lost, because I don't remember that second loss. These credits are kind of cool. They're very reminiscent of the WrestleMania 2000 credits. So they're gonna show guys and what they did. There's Giant Baba. They're gonna show all the All Japan Pro Wrestling guys coming out, walking out of the back, if you will. And there's Vader. It's amazing that Vader's number 2. That's how over he was in Japan. That's how much of a big deal he was. But yeah, so now that I'm done with Royal Road Session Mode, I'm trying to think of where I want to take my Let's Plays to, what the next step is going to be. Obviously, I don't want to just go back and do a whole nother Royal Road Succession Mode. There's so many wrestlers in this game, and there's so many promotions that I want to talk about, and there's so many events that I want to go over. Like, I want to talk about the New Japan, the Super Junior tag, tournaments. I want to talk about the Michinoku Pro and, Taka Michinoku and Great Suzuki. I want to talk about All Japan Pro Wrestling. I've faced All Japan Pro Wrestling wrestlers here, but I feel like a lot of my talk has been geared towards New Japan Pro Wrestling. I want to go through all the titles. There's so many titles in here. I want to go over all the mixed martial arts wrestlers. And so there's a lot of content still to come up for my Let's Plays, and I'm just gonna have to figure out which ones I want to do first. I have a lot of wrestlers left to unlock that you've probably already seen in the videos, like Yoshiaki Fujiwara is a wrestler you have to unlock, but I unlocked him again because I did all the stuff earlier on. I unlocked him in order to use him in the G1 Climax episodes, but there's a lot of guys we haven't gotten to. And also, some of the characters I unlocked, I realized that I didn't edit them. Like I did it in the beginning when I first started doing the Let's Play. Like you saw me edit Atsushi Onita, and then I did a few matches against him and Great Muta to unlock some other stuff. But I didn't show my edits for Terry Gordy and Steve Williams. I didn't edit Andre the Giant, Jumbo Tsuruta, Antonio Inoki here. I don't have that footage. They're edited in my game, ready to go. So it'll be great to see what they look like actually. But there's so many more wrestlers I have to unlock. So I have to unlock Bass Rutten. Most of them are MMA wrestlers. Bass Rutten, Rickson Gracie, Mark Kerr, Akira Mita, Alexander Carolyn, Naoya Ogawa, and the original Tiger Mask. So they're mostly, mixed martial arts wrestlers. Some of them, like Naoya Ogawa and Akira Mita, had very established pro wrestling careers as well. The original Tiger Mask, obviously Satoru Sayama. Oh man, and then like when I think of something like that, like the original Tiger Mask, it's like, all right, I want to make some created wrestlers now for this game. Like I had a bunch of created wrestlers back in the day that I had for this game, and one of them was Dynamite Kid. You know, his feud with Tiger Mask. I made Dynamite Kid back in the day. You want to make Sting, because you can make a really good Sting here. You can make a really good Hawk and Animal here, and a lot of those guys did a lot of tours of Japan and have a lot of memorable matches. So there's a lot more to come from my Let's Play series, is basically what I'm saying, and I'm very excited because I think out of, you know, all the games that I'm doing Let's Plays for now, you know, No Mercy, Revenge, and WWE 2K16, there's a lot more flexibility, a lot more creativity I can do with the future Let's Play episodes, so I'm very excited about that. And there'll probably be shorter episodes too, which will help me focus on, you know, specific wrestlers or specific events. So I hope you're looking forward to that. I know I'm looking forward to that, and I hope you enjoy this journey through the Royal Road Secession mode. For all the other guys I have to unlock, I'm not going to show the entire Royal Road Secession. I'm just going to probably show the last couple of matches, unlocking them, or maybe just even the unlock match, and then maybe doing matches after that, after I've edited them. So stay tuned. A lot of great content coming up. Check out my Virtual Pro Wrestling historic matches as well. And yeah, you know what to do. This is the end of the video, so you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, same thing you do on all the other YouTube channels you love to watch. Yeah, and until next time, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching my channel. Keep watching wrestling, and watch all the wrestling. Watch New Japan, All Japan, Lucha Underground is coming up, WWE, even Impact Wrestling. Just watch all of it. Watch all of it, and stay tuned. A lot of great stuff coming up next. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time.